Mayor Steen.
Present.
Councilmember at Large Anderson.
Present.
Councilmember Helly.
Present.
Hagan.
Present.
Fisher.
Present.
Enright.
Present.
King.
Present.
Austin.
Present.
We have a quorum, Your Honor.
Thank you. Item 1 is a motion for adoption of the agenda. We need a motion.
So moved.
Is there a sec- All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Item 2 is a motion approving minutes from December 4th, 2017, and truth and taxation minutes from December 5th. We need a motion.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor? Opposed? And number 3, under recognition and awards, we have some retirements. I'd like to read them off first, and we do have a couple of them here, and Steve would like to say a few things, but Ron Ripley from the building department, I don't believe Ron is here, is he? And Ron had 97 to 2017, was it 20 years? Yep. Jay Carlson is here. Lauren Alice from the street department is not here. Joe Millie from the police department, who I worked with for 20 years, is not here. John Sauer from the street department is not here. Paul Jenkins from the wastewater treatment plant is not here. Randy Tapp from street department isn't here. And Mike Kane from the sewage maintenance department is here. So Stephen, why don't you tell us a little bit about these gentlemen?
Well, first we had 7 retirees from the Public Works Department and 1 from the Police Department on the list that you just read there. So with those, speaking of the Public Works folks, they represented 186 years of service in total. So a great deal of institutional knowledge is going with those guys, that group that is retiring from the Public Works Department. And on average, they averaged about 26 years of experience each. So again, just a great deal of experience in their positions and their work for the city. And the 2 that are here tonight, the first one, Jay Carlson, he worked for the street department from January of '89 through May of 2017, so about 28 and a half years for the street department. Did many different things as part of the street crew and ended his career as an equipment operator. So Jay, do you want to come on up and maybe get a handshake from the council and get your plaque?
Yeah, you don't have to say anything. 'Cause I know there's good and bad. Congrats. Enjoy retirement.
Great, thank you.
Congratulations. Thanks for coming, too.
Congratulations. Enjoy your retirement.
Did we spell your name right?
See you.
Yeah.
See you there.
Thanks for coming, Jay. Also here tonight is Mike Connie. Mike is involved in many different departments in the street department. Started work for the city in July of 1984, and he actually is still working for the city. He's going to be retiring here at the end of December, so he is a 2017 retiree, and we wanted to get him recognized tonight. But Mike has worked in the street crew. He's been a mechanic, and most recently he was in the sewer department. Mike is a very talented fabricator, and he's very detail orientated. I know he did a lot of stuff for our recent sewer department. So I'd like to recognize Mike Connie for his 33 and a half years of service with the city.
Okay, Mike. Sorry, mispronounced your name.
Congratulations. Enjoy retirement, Matt.
Sorry, I mispronounced your name.
Oh, that's
Everybody
fine,
knows
that's
it's
fine.
mine.
Close enough.
Thank you, Mike, and congratulations.
Nobody else came tonight. I know Joe Millie, and I'd say a few words, but it might get back to him, so we'll skip that. He was actually quite fun and quite dedicated, and fun to work with. Anyway, we'll move on to the consent agenda. Item number 4 is a motion. We need a motion for the consent agenda.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? You guys don't have to hang around, too. I know we have really exciting meetings, but I think you guys were the highlight of our meeting tonight, so it's all downhill from here. All right, number 5 under public hearings is the public hearing on a 5-year-old capital improvement plan. It's a resolution, Mr. Dankert.
Despite your comments, I think the best is here with the capital improvement plan. Before you tonight, council, is a public hearing for the capital improvement plan from 2018 through 2022. In total, we're projecting expenditures just over $121 million for the next 5-year cycle. However, just to inform council and citizens that just because it's in here doesn't mean it will specifically be done, because some of the items are funded by grants or other revenue sources that have to be applied for and granted over the next 5-year term. By having council adopt the capital improvement plan, however, it sets in motion that the 2018 expenditures that are listed in here would then authorize staff to go through and start planning on the acquisition of those. And then for the 2019 through 2022 items, it serves as a planning tool for them to plan for the next 4 years out. Those aren't set in stone, it's just a planning tool that then they can use potentially in 2019 to reorganize or reprioritize based on council demands and citizen demands. But again, this is a public hearing, but we would propose the CIP for 2018 through 22 at $121.5 million.
Is that it? And
That's
council,
it.
do you have anything to add or subtract?
I just wanted to mention that I think the capital improvement plan for Austin represents a very wise and judicious use of public resources. This is a really detailed plan. It's the kind of thing that I wish my household had for the next 5 years planned out in terms of capital expenditures. And it's also a useful tool for other community entities. I know when I was working with Vision 2020, it was a document that I read through several times and looked for how things could dovetail. So I want to commend staff for maintaining such a thorough and well thought out document. I think it's a great tool, and it allows us to use the taxpayer money to the best extent that we can.
Sounds like
Anybody
a
else?
motion.
Yeah, I just want to say, kind of echo Ms. Helly's words, but I think this is just goes to show proof the good staff we have and how well run our city is that we have this document. Not every city has this and does the kind of planning that we do, and I just want to commend staff for their hard work in putting this together every year.
We're fortunate to have the people we do.
I just want to add quickly that it creates a kind of focus that, as Tom was just saying, puts the staff clearly in view of the kinds of funding opportunities they might find, grant opportunities, and this city gets a remarkable amount of grants to make the city better and to make it operate more smoothly, and it's quite remarkable, and a lot of that I think is based on the capital improvement plan that we know what we're looking for.
Now that all the positive stuff's out of the way, I see that my street project's been kicked down 3 more years. Thanks a lot, Tom.
You can have my street project next year.
Trade you.
Yeah.
Is that it?
That's it.
That's all you had to say?
Yeah, I'm negative today.
Okay.
Yeah.
You really can have my
Doctor,
street
no.
project. Okay, we're lucky to have the people we do, and you know, that's the reason we're in good shape, although I'm sure some people would dispute that, but the people in the know. Anyway, we need a resolution adopting the capital improvement plan. Public hearing, anybody here want to add anything?
Who, want to add anything?
Think your wife's doing a good job? Anybody else? Sandy? You gotta come up here and give us your name, and nobody knows who you are.
I'm Sandy Forstner. I work at the Austin Area Chamber of Commerce, and my question on the capital improvement plan relates to flood mitigation and the project and the local options sales tax. Of course, if you go back to 2005-06, we were very much part of that process. Certainly respect the work that has been accomplished, but the question keeps coming up from retailers when that sales tax is going to sunset. According to this plan, we're going out to 2022. You know, we've exceeded those initial fundraising goals in terms of dollars. So I don't know how or when there's any public discourse regarding additional projects beyond, what was originally advertised.
Okay, now I think there's other people that could answer this, but maybe I can answer this. Originally, it was supposed to expire in 2022, you said? And I
No,
think-
the original plan was $28 million project,
Yeah.
14 coming from local option sales tax, 14 from other sources.
Right.
But the ballot question read, 20 years, or when the city council deemed projects had been completed.
Okay, and what we're still looking at is there's a project out in Wildwood, which we haven't decided if we're gonna do yet. We're finishing up, Stephen, correct me if I'm jump in here anytime. We're still finishing up some other projects. We anticipate we're gonna be done before the 20-year window is up. At that point, we have to determine what we're gonna do. And that some people, a lot of cities now have gone back to the legislature and asked for the half-cent sales tax for other purposes.
I understand.
And a lot of cities get used to that half-cent sales tax. Now, the county's talking, I think they already did a half-cent sales tax.
The counties will be implemented in January of
Right.
next year, so
But
then
we'll
we'll
have
have a
that
1-cent sales tax.
We'll have that discussion we'll have a discussion on that. We're not gonna just, that has to be voted on by a referendum, am I right? So we'll have that discussion at the time. There's different things that, the city has looked at, we've talked about. Half of us probably won't even be here when that time comes up, but we do anticipate being done with it before the 20 years, that's for sure.
I know the council has, annual board retreats, planning retreats, and I don't know if that's where these are discussed as longer-term plans. But, I think the concern there is somehow that, projects are being added and this money is being utilized in order to make them work.
Nothing's been added, and any discussion so far have been informal. There hasn't been where the council sat down and said, to my knowledge, they've sat down and said, let's talk about this, or this. Right now, we're still focusing on the flood projects. We have Wildwood, we have to determine if we want to do that. A few other smaller projects, I think most of the big ones are obviously done. But at that point, when they are finished, when we determine if we're going to do Wildwood, we'll see if there's anything else we want to do. Because as we're doing it, other things become apparent. We didn't talk about Wildwood at first, but then some Wildwood residents came in, they've talked about it. There's some debate on whether we would get, whether it would help or not, so we haven't made a determination on that. But any other projects besides the flood thing, we'd have to go to the people in the legislature, and there'll be a big discussion. And like I say, half of us probably won't even be here then.
But I'm just wondering whether the council contemplates sunsetting the sales tax before 2026.
I think the discussions I've heard and the people I've talked to said we should be done well before then with our projects, even if we do. Tom, did you have something to add? I see you putting your finger up.
I'll let you.
Even if we do decide to do Wildwood, I'm still assuming we'd be done well before then. Is that correct, Stephen?
Yes, that's
And we're not
correct.
even sure Wildwood would qualify.
Right now, I think we're looking to carry projects and needing funding through about 2023. The sales tax can go until 2027 for flood control. And yes, to answer Mr. Forstner's question, this is something we talk about almost yearly at our retreat. We talk about projects, we look at priorities, ranking the different projects, which we've talked about again previously this year about where projects should fit in with the available funding. Mr. Clark and I did do a presentation for the chamber group just to let them know where we're at with the dollars, what's been earned so far, and what projects are hanging out there yet to be constructed.
Okay? It's a good question. Tom?
And in addition to that, just for the media and anybody watching at home, the 2006 estimate of $28 million was at current construction costs in 2006. We're 11 years later, and that was clearly identified that, the best estimates we have were based on those rates. And right now, we're taking in about $1.4 million annually in sales tax revenue. And in just 18 through 2021 in the CIP, not including the Wildwood, you got about $16 million worth of projects right there. So again, if we're fortunate enough to get $8 million from a federal or state sources of grant, then we've got several years of city contributions through the local option sales tax required. If we can't line up federal or state grants, council, you only have one chance at this. If you terminate that sales tax, then any flood projects come on will have to come through the tax levy. So as staff, I think we're cognizant that we want to cut it off, but we also want to make sure that all the flood projects are done and the community doesn't have to worry about flooding ever again.
And I just want to say, the legislators come down in buses and look at our flood project. I mean, it's been hugely successful, and they say when they want to talk about, how governments and them can partner and do things positive, they come down to Austin. I think John Erickson and Stephen Lang have done such a good job on it. you know, it's just, we're fortunate that it's done.
I think the community is clearly supportive of flood projects, Mr. Mayor. It's just, I'm not sure the community is clear on what all those projects are at that point. I don't think they're as clear as they were in 2006 when they voted on it.
Maybe we could
And I
do
would just
something.
encourage the council, you know, to be open and clear and receive input from the public as projects are added. And let them weigh in on whether those projects are worth their tax dollars as well. The sales tax is a tax too.
Okay. Maybe we can put that on the retreat agenda again, talk about it. Anybody else from the public? If not, we need a resolution adopting the capital improvement plan.
So move the resolution.
Is there a second? Mr. Dankert.
Councilmember Helly,
Aye.
Hagan,
Aye.
Fisher,
Aye.
Enright,
Aye.
King,
Aye.
Austin,
Aye.
Councilmember at Large Anderson.
Aye.
Resolution passes 7-0, Your Honor.
Thank you. Under petitions and requests, 6 is a resolution approving the tax levy for the year 2018. Tom?
As was discussed at the Truth and Taxation hearing we recently had, council is looking at a proposed tax levy for 2018 of $5,941,000. At this point in time, we'd request council approval of such.
Council?
Yeah, I just wanted to comment, even though I wasn't able to be here at the Truth and Taxation meeting, I did watch it on YouTube, and Mr. Dankert once again did a fine job in presenting this for us.
Anybody else?
That's
If
two
not, we need a
people.
resolution.
So move the
Is there
resolution.
a second?
Second.
Mr. Dankert.
Councilmember Helly,
Aye.
Hagan,
Aye.
Fisher,
Aye.
Enright,
Aye.
King,
Aye.
Austin,
Aye.
Councilmember at Large Anderson.
Aye.
Resolution passes 7-0, Your Honor.
Thank you. Number 7 is a resolution approving the budget for 2018. Tom?
The 2018 budget, as discussed at the Truth and Taxation hearing, proposes a total budget of $33,974,136. We would request council authorize that for the 2018 year, that again will set in motion the expenditures for the upcoming year. Once again, I'd like to thank staff, department heads for both the CIP and this budget. Documents got in time, which allowed us to meet with them and council to make decisions necessary to get this budget passed. But once again, we'd request approval of the budget as proposed.
Council, we need if you don't have anything, we need a resolution.
So move the resolution.
Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Dankert?
Councilmember Helly,
Aye.
Hagan,
Aye.
Fisher,
Aye.
Enright,
Aye.
King,
Aye.
Councilmember at Large Anderson.
Aye.
Resolution passes 7-0, Your Honor.
8 is a resolution authorizing the cancellation of certain ad valorem tax levies. Tom?
Before you tonight is a resolution that also cancels a tax levy that is authorized in resolutions that were passed when these bond issues were sold. The 2010 A utility revenue bonds and the 2015 A bonds have a resolution on file that allows us to tax the citizens of Austin if there's not sufficient revenue to pay the bond payments. Both of these have sufficient revenue sources to pay the bond payments, so we would request council authorize a resolution to cancel those taxes for the next year.
Council? If not, if you don't have anything, we need a resolution for 8.
So move the
Is there a
resolution.
second? Mr. Dankert?
Councilmember Helly,
Aye.
Hagan,
Aye.
Fisher,
Aye.
Enright,
Aye.
King,
Aye.
Austin,
Aye.
Councilmember at Large Anderson.
Aye.
Resolution passes 7-0, Your Honor.
Thank you. 9 is a resolution approving the modification of the note and subordination of the mortgage with Murphy's Creek Townhomes. Is that Tom?
As was discussed at the last work session, the developer for Murphy's Creek Townhomes has requested a refinancing of their facility to take advantage of certain market conditions. Again, wanting to get them done before year end is the goal. The request to the City Council is to support, we currently have a $2,184,000 loan to the developer. They've asked us to subordinate that loan to a new Minnesota Housing Finance Agency loan in the amount of $5,394,000. They're asking us to additionally resubordinate our existing loan to Minnesota Housing Financing for a $692,444 loan that still exists. And they're asking us to extend the maturity date of our loan, which was supposed to come due June 28th of 2031, to roughly December 31st, 2047, or 30 years after the first payment, loan with MHFA is paid off. This is a requirement of their financing with Minnesota Housing Finance Agency to preserve the 88 units out in Murphy's Creek, most of which are low to moderate income rented. In addition to that, they're going to take approximately $2 million of this financing and redo the facility, new roofs, new sinks, new windows, etc., and also pay off $1 million loan to Greater Minnesota Housing Finance Agency. In addition to that, we should be getting a payment of roughly $360,000 for the accrued interest from the date of the loan through December of this year. We looked at the pros and cons of it, and based on the discussion at the work session, council had requested or recommended approval of the signing the documents related to this refinancing for Murphy's Creek.
Council, anything? If not, we need a resolution.
So move the
Is there
resolution.
a second?
Second.
Mr. Dankert.
Councilmember Helly,
Aye.
Hagan, Fisher,
Aye.
Enright,
Aye.
King,
Aye.
Austin.
Aye.
Councilmember Large Anderson.
Aye.
Resolution passes 7-0, Your Honor.
Thank you. 10 is resolution approving a collateral assignment agreement for Fox Point Townhomes Development, huh?
The Austin Housing and Redevelopment Authority is working on a 38-unit affordable housing complex out north of 18th by the Walmart facility. In relation to that, the Fox Point developers have been working with Wells Fargo, who's financing most of the project. But with that, the City of Austin has agreed in prior motions to a tax increment development agreement, which would allow them to capture TIF back to help pay down the project. It also help pay the Austin HRA for any infrastructure or land improvement costs they have. Wells Fargo is requesting that we assign those items as collateral to them in the event Fox Point does not go through with the development for some odd reason. The HRA is also getting a performance bond to help ensure the project gets done, but Wells Fargo has been unwilling to waver from this, wanting the assignment of that to ensure that their project gets paid for in the event the developers walk away. We don't have any belief that they're going to walk away because Three Rivers has done these sort of projects before, but again, it's just part of their financing. So at this point in time, we would request council authorize such contingent on the Austin HRA approving such at their upcoming meeting.
Council, if there's nothing additional, we need a resolution.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Dankert.
Councilmember Helly,
Aye.
Hagan,
Aye.
Fisher,
Aye.
Enright,
Aye.
King,
Aye.
Austin.
Aye.
Councilmember Large Anderson.
Aye.
Resolution passes 7-0, Your Honor.
11 is a motion approving the use of 2017 contingency funds in the amount of $4,175 for online payment and licensing software. Ms. Wallace.
Your Honor and council members, the material you have in your packet is from our work session. The software that we are asking for contingency funds for would be to support our rental licensing and inspection ordinance, which we're hoping to pass in the next year, upcoming year. The software company that we're using, iWork, offered us a substantial discount if we signed on to the program this year. The typical fee annually is $5,250, and going forward, ongoing annually, we would pay $2,500. And then with this year, with a one-time $1,675 data conversion setup fee, so the requested funds are $4,175 total. The ongoing cost should be paid for by the licensing fees that we would collect as part of the ordinance. The request was, at least for the online payment option, was made by the Austin Landlord Association, just to make the process more convenient. The program would be available to the public in general at some point in the future to be used with our permitting, our building permits as well. It is also, the licensing software is available for any department, including in our administration department for businesses, liquor, pets, et cetera, at no additional cost. So it will be available to multiple departments as needed or as wanted. And I don't have anything else to add if you have any questions.
Questions, council? If not, we need a motion.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. 12 is a resolution granting 2018 licenses for the sale of hard liquor on sale, Sunday hard liquor on sale, Sunday wine on sale, and 3-2 beer on and off sale. Ms. Kazel.
Yes, this is our last resolution of the year for the liquor. We have different timelines for each type of license we have. So these are all licenses that are issued by the state or by the city and consented to by the state. I had one question from one of the council members on here. We do have 2 Holiday Inns being approved. That transfer that we approved the prior meeting hasn't closed yet, so we're being proactive and approving for 2018 for the old buyer, the old owner in case it doesn't close, and the new owner in case it does close. So just trying to make sure that we have all the bases covered for the businesses to operate.
Council, if you have nothing to add, we need a resolution.
So move the
Is there
resolution.
a second? Second. Mr. Dankert.
Councilmember Helly,
Aye.
Hagan. Fisher. Enright.
Abstain.
King.
Aye.
Austin.
Aye.
Councilmember at Large Anderson.
Aye.
Resolution passes 6-0 with 1 abstaining, Your Honor.
Yeah, I do. 13 is a resolution accepting donations to the city. Need a, self-explanatory, need a resolution.
So move the
Is there a
resolution.
second?
Second.
Mr. Dankert.
Councilmember Helly,
Aye.
Hagan. Fisher. Enright.
Aye.
King.
Aye.
Austin.
Aye.
Councilmember at Large Anderson.
Aye.
Resolution passes 7-0, Your Honor.
Thank you. 14 is 2 resolution approving ICM agreements with Hormel Foods. Stephen, you'll cover them both, right? Sure.
Yes, we do these periodically. I think we just did one last meeting, and this one is for Hormel Foods. It sets requirements and limitations for the wastewater that we receive from the Hormel plant. And in this case, we have 2 ICM agreements. One is for the, as you all know, we have 2 wastewater treatment plants. One is an industrial plant that serves just Hormel, and then we have a domestic plant which serves the remainder of the city. In this case, with these 2 agreements, one is setting the limits for the industrial plant, and then the second one is setting an allocation for a portion of the domestic plant for bypassing flows to that facility when needed. As with other ones, we regulate flow, the strength, suspended solids, nitrogen, and pH. This agreement is a 5-year agreement. Both the industrial and the domestic agreement is ICM agreements are both for 5 years, and we would recommend approving these agreements with Hormel Foods Corporation.
Council, any questions on either one of the A or B? If not, we need a resolution for A.
So moved.
Is there a second? Tom?
Councilmember Helly,
Aye.
Hagan. Fisher. Enright.
Aye.
King. Austin.
Aye.
Councilmember at Large Anderson.
Aye.
Resolution passes 7-0, Your
And we
Honor.
need a resolution for B.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Dankert?
Councilmember Helly,
Aye.
Hagan. Fisher. Enright.
Aye.
King. Austin.
Aye.
Councilmember at Large Anderson.
Aye.
Resolution passes 7-0, Your Honor.
Thank you. 15 is a resolution approving an agency delegated contracting process agreement with MnDOT. Stephen?
Yes, as you described, this DCP process allows for federal funds to be channeled through MnDOT prior to coming to the city of Austin, and those are only project eligible. Typically, we run into these on city federal street reconstruction projects where we receive a grant from the feds for a project. The dollars go to MnDOT, and then as we expend those funds on our street projects, we request reimbursement, or Mr. Dankert's department through finance requests reimbursement from the state for those costs. So this is just an agreement that we're entering into with MnDOT to allow us to facilitate that program, and it's very similar to how it has operated in the past.
Council? If there's nothing further, we need a resolution for 15.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Dankert?
Councilmember Helly,
Aye.
Hagan. Fisher. Enright.
Aye.
King. Austin.
Aye.
Councilmember at Large Anderson.
Aye.
Resolution passes 7-0, Your Honor.
Thank you. 16. I knew Steve was here for some reason, Steve Crime. It's a resolution approving a mountain bike trail easement donation agreement. Kim?
Thank you, Mayor and Council. At our Park Board meeting on December 6th, they made the motion to recommend that the council review and approve the easement donation from Hormel, where the dirt bike trail is. So the mountain bike trail out by Todd. So I'd like you, if you have any questions regarding the donation easement.
I see Jerry's here too for the same thing. Council, you have any questions? If not, we need a resolution.
So move the resolution.
Is there a second?
Second.
Tom?
Councilmember Helly,
Aye.
Hagan,
Aye.
Fisher,
Aye.
Enright,
Aye.
King,
Aye.
Austin.
Aye.
Councilmember at Large Anderson.
Aye.
Resolution passes 7-0, Your Honor.
Thank you. 17 is a motion approving the extension of the voluntary furlough program. We do this every year, but Trish, I'm sure warrants an explanation.
Sure. Mayor and Council, as the mayor had indicated, this is a program that we've continued since 2009, a voluntary furlough program for our employees. It's an opportunity for our employees to furlough unpaid time, saving the city budget dollars for those employee salaries. Guidelines that are in place are the same that were in place for 2017, so this would be an extension for 2018.
Council, any questions? If not, we need a, let's see where we are, motion.
So moved.
Is there a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. 18 is a motion approving additional sick leave payout for health insurance deductibles for 2018. Trish?
As part of the new health insurance program and the increase of the premiums, as part of that discussion, we talked about allowing employees to cash out up to $1,500 of their sick leave to help pay for their deductibles. Currently, that amount is $750, and we had proposed and recommended as a way to help alleviate the cost to the employees, increasing that or doubling that from $750 to $1,500. There are two provisions of our current policies, one in our health insurance and one in our sick leave, that indicates that that amount is $750. And for at least 2018, we would like to add this policy as supplement to the health insurance and the sick leave, increasing that amount from $715 to $1,500.
Questions? Now we need a motion.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. 19 is two motions granting the Planning and Zoning Department the power to contract for the removal of junk and/or illegally stored vehicles at A, 1008 First Place Northeast, Welling property. Need a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And finally, B, 611 Fifth Avenue Northwest, CS&S Enterprise property. Need a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And our final item tonight, Mower County All Hazard Mitigation Plan update. Holly.
Your Honor, it is actually part of the All Hazard Mitigation Plan, which we adopted in September 28, 2016. We include in that plan detailed procedures of dealing with floods and mitigation plans. And as part of, we happen to be involved with the Community Rating System, which is a voluntary incentive program that recognizes and encourages communities to engage in floodplain management activities that exceed the minimum requirements of the National Flood Insurance Program. And as part of that, we need to make a report each year to the council about the activities that we've done that are in the All Hazard Mitigation Plan. And the report includes the items that we have addressed this year in 2017. The first is acquisition of 3 properties. And then the second talks about project development. One of those is the North Main Flood Control Project, and the second is a Turtle Creek Flood Control Project. If the council wants some additional details on that, I can go through them, or Mr. Lang would also, I could defer to him if you had some detailed questions. But if there's nothing else, I'll leave it to you.
Any questions? We don't have to vote on it, just information.
No action is needed.
Okay. If there's nothing else, we are to any citizens addressing the council. Steve.
I just felt compelled to just give a thank you, actually, for this agreement on the mountain bike trail. Been working on it for a while. A lot of people have been involved. Special thanks to Hormel Foods, legal department there, the city, Kim Underwood Park and Rec, county attorney, Dick Hoverston, and Public Works Department. I think so many people came together, the Southern Minnesota Bike Club Executive Committee, and came up with this agreement, which will make this trail open to the public. And I think this goes a long ways in our vision, our goal, to really make Austin a destination, I'll say, for bicyclists and trail users. I think it'll open the doors for a lot of things, and we hope to continue hosting the high school race, but in addition to that, offer it up to other citizens from around the state, around the area who would love to ride that trail. So thank you very much for that.
Well, I know you work your butt off on a lot of this stuff, Steve, and thank you. Okay, and Jerry. I know Jerry works on this stuff too, plus a lot of other things. Now we will get to reports and recommendations from the council. Judy?
Nothing, Your Honor.
Steve?
Nothing, Your Honor.
Jeff?
I have nothing, Your Honor.
Janet?
Nothing wrong.
Dave?
Merry Christmas, nothing, Your Honor.
Paul? Jen, any reports? I just want to say it's been a pleasure working with this council. Been there 11 years, and this council gets more stuff done. It's not because we agree with each other, but it's because everybody has a very forward-looking agenda, and this has been the best council I've ever worked with. I look forward to next year. With that, we need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Well, thank you.